Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ms. TV Total Football. To all the Man United fans, Ornstein has made you guys all nice and horny. To all the Newcastle fans, you are mudded yet again, man. But look, Newcastle fans, don't worry. I've got a solution for you guys. So you better stick around till the end of the video because that solution might actually be better if I'm being absolutely honest about it. Look, ladies and gentlemen, this Benjamin Sesko saga, I feel like, look, ultimately, Red Bull Leipzig, they played a very, very good game. But at the same time, I think Man United has played a very good game. In this entire series, the one particular player that's probably not played a very good game is Newcastle. And I'm going to elaborate why I think all of these things, why Red Bull Leipzig has played a good game, why Man United has equally played a good game, and why Newcastle hasn't played a very good game. I'm going to elaborate all of this on all of these factors and get to the bottom of it. Look, the bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, Benjamin Sesko looks like he prefers Man United, and Man United are now going to do club-to-club discussions with Leipzig, and I'm sure very, very soon we're going to see a here we go for this player to Man United. So Sesko to Man United is quite imminent. Before I get into all of that, let's have a look at the news. Let's have a look at the news. This is the latest coming from David Ornstein. Manchester United closing in on a deal to sign Benjamin Sesko from Red Bull Leipzig. Red Bull Leipzig accepted 82.5 million plus 2.5 million bid from Newcastle. So Newcastle looks like 85 million pounds. Well, sorry, 85 million euros was already accepted by Leipzig from Newcastle. Newcastle United, but 22-year-old striker wants Man United. No club-to-club agreement yet, but talks advancing towards conclusion. Now, the latest that I heard from Fabrizio Romano, or might have been even David Ornstein, that Man United are potentially bidding the same amount, if not maybe just 5 million less. But the situation here is, now I'm going to elaborate on the matters why everyone played a top game here. I want to start things off with Newcastle. Newcastle bid nearly, well, it says 85 million, but I think there was rumors about 90 million euros that was getting touted around. Newcastle, I think indirectly, first thing is they're telling us that they are about to get that Isak money, because where else is Newcastle getting all of this money from, right? 90 million, nearly 90 million euros for Benjamin Sesko. Now, some people might say, look, they already had that type of money available. They were going for, they were going for João Pedro. They were going for Ekitike, this, that, the other. But I think all of that money, especially Ekitike one, it's one that they were banking from Isak. Look, I think from a long time, this isn't a new sensation that Isak wants to leave Newcastle. I think this has been brewing for a little while, and I'm pretty sure Newcastle hierarchies would have sniffed about this news somewhat quite a long time ago. I don't think this is a new thing. So this is why they've been going, going into the market and trying to find a replacement. So look, they tried to go and get Ekitike. It didn't happen. Liverpool, broke their arm and their leg and everything that came in between, and they got Ekitike off them. And this is why Newcastle have been forced to go to Benjamin Sesko. But the biggest mistake Newcastle has made over here is they didn't try to get the players' agreement first. I think look, you can have all of these club-to-club agreements and get everything done from that perspective. But if the player, if you've not even spoken to and then you've not even got a green light from the player, well, then what's all of this work for? Because you can get the agreement with the club, but if the player says, I ain't going nowhere, well, what's the point? This is why I always say, get the agreement from the player. After that, it's very difficult for the club to not let go of that player. So in this case, I think Newcastle were hoping that Benjamin Sesko might still turn his head. But the fact that Man United has been lingering around and has been in this race, and Benjamin Sesko seems like prefers Man United, it really has hampered Newcastle. If there was no other suitors, then I think Newcastle gets their man, because Benjamin Sesko then would have realized that no one else is coming for me. I might as well go. For instance, Xavi Simons with Chelsea. There are no other suitors at the moment that are absolutely going for Xavi Simons. It is Chelsea, and he only wants Chelsea as well. So this is why the matter hopefully is a little bit easier in that perspective. So Newcastle, ladies and gentlemen, you've not done this properly, man. You really should have got the green light from the player, and then you should have tried to go and get the club-to-club agreement. And ultimately, look, mud on Newcastle's face again. The amount of rejections Newcastle has received in this transfer window is mad. From João Pedro to Ekitike to now Benjamin Sesko and so many other players. Mbeumo, who's the goalkeeper, the Manchester City goalkeeper, and so many more. So many more players have rejected Newcastle United in this window. Now, that's Newcastle. You've screwed up, and you're about to get rejected again. Man United, on the other hand, they have been communicating with the player. They haven't done any club-to-club. Man United, they don't want to get into a situation where they're simply just getting into a bidding war with Newcastle. No, they don't want a bidding war. What they want is get the green light from the player and then maybe negotiate a little bit less because the player prefers them. And, you go from there. So this is what Man United has done. And ultimately, look, in the food chain, you just can't compete against the big clubs, man. Your Man Uniteds, your Liverpools, your Chelseas, your Arsenals, and so on and so forth. If Man United was competing against City or Chelsea or Liverpool in this matter, I think Sesko would have had a difficult decision to make. But because Sesko only has Newcastle and Man United, and no matter how much you banter Man United, they're still a superior club to Newcastle. Newcastle might have excellent fan base and excellent, history and heritage where they are, but Man United are a global club. The reach is global. You become an instant superstar as soon as you sign for them. As I said, regardless of all the banter, Man United is Man United. So Man United, they've played a fantastic game here. They've been talking to Benjamin Sesko. Benjamin Sesko prefers them. And now, slowly but surely, Man United will start doing club-to-club. And don't be surprised if the club-to-club is a tad bit less than what Newcastle's offering. It won't be a lot less, but it'll be a tad bit less. Now, the offer itself, let's talk quickly about that before we talk about Leipzig. 82.5 million plus 2.5, so all up 85 million euros. I think that's approximately about 70 million pounds, no? Let me just have a look. 85 million euros to Great British pound. How much is that? Yeah, it's about 74 million pounds, roughly, let's say 75 million pounds. Look, in my personal opinion, Benjamin Sesko is probably not worth 75 million pounds. He is not. I think ultimately he really should have been worth somewhere around that 65 million. He's probably 10 million too much. But Man United, they need a striker. They don't want to continue on with Rasmus Højlund. Now, whether Højlund goes or not, we shall see. But Newcastle were willing to pay that money because they're banking on Isak to leave. Isak to Liverpool is going to happen, and this is why Newcastle are going into the market heavy, knowing that they're going to receive that money. Now, Leipzig's side, Leipzig's played a blinder here as well. Leipzig is thinking, do you know what, Newcastle? We know Isak's about to leave. We know you're about to bank a lot of money from Isak. So you are now going to pay an extra bit of tax because of the money that you're going to make. And because of the fact that our player, Benjamin Sesko, is a rare commodity at the moment in the market, if you look at it from a stock exchange, because there's not that many strikers going around. Gyökeres has gone to Arsenal. Osimhen's not leaving. He's gone to Galatasaray. There's not too many top strikers about, and Sesko's name was probably the one that's been floating around. You missed out on João Pedro, by the way. That's another name. João Pedro, Newcastle got mudded there by us, Chelsea Football Club. So Red Bull Leipzig has seen the situation, and you know what? Now you're going to pay excess, and this is why Newcastle come in with an 85 million euros bid. I think yesterday I saw somewhere it was about 90 million as well. euros with add-ons and so on and so forth. So Leipzig, no, set the standard, and then Man United, look, you cannot be so much below the standards. And this is what's going to happen if Man United end up offering something stupid like 10 million less. I think then Benjamin Sesko will say to Newcastle, let's make this happen, because Man United are not serious. But if Man United are offering maybe 5 million less than what Newcastle has offered, Red Bull Leipzig are still winners, because they're about to collect a lot of money that their player probably doesn't deserve. Look, don't get me wrong, Benjamin Sesko is a good player, but there's still a lot to develop. He's not the final product. He's not, the polished striker as yet. There's still a lot to grow. And Man United, are you ready to take a punt again? Are you ready to go through that development phase again? Maybe a little bit better than that Rasmus Højlund, but ultimately, look, there is a risk. There is a risk. He's not a ready-made striker, just ready to unleash straight away. Do you know what I mean? So, look, ultimately, looks like Benjamin Sesko, ladies and gentlemen, is going to go to Man United, and Man United is going to get their man. Now, where does that leave Newcastle? I said to all the Newcastle fans, stick around till the end of the video, because I've got a solution for you. I think now Newcastle, they're going to have to do something. Don't be shocked if Newcastle come after Nicholas Jackson's. Chelsea's Nicholas Jackson. Don't be surprised if Newcastle come after him. If Newcastle go for Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins, then maybe Aston Villa is going to come for Nicholas Jackson. Regardless, Nicholas Jackson will be a solution for multiple clubs out there if they lose their main man and if they don't get their main man. In this case, Newcastle, they're not about to get their main man, and they're going to have to look at second options, and they're going to have to come to Nicholas Jackson. And you know what the best part about that is, for Chelsea fans, that is, that now we know you're about to pay that level of money for Benjamin Sesko. Please, Nicholas Jackson is no less of a player than Benjamin Sesko. In fact, if anything, Nicholas Jackson's got 2 years of, Premier League experience, and I feel for Newcastle United, Nicholas Jackson might actually be a better option. And if they can go on there and get Nicholas Jackson and Wissa as well from Brentford with the money that they're going to collect from Isak, that might actually be a better squad there. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the situation that's brewing at the moment. Benjamin Sesko to Man United. Newcastle mudded once again, but Newcastle, don't be worried. Maybe Newcastle's coming after Nicholas Jackson, and that might actually be a better solution. But you better pay up the money. If you're willing to pay somewhere around 75 million for Benjamin Sesko, yeah, we shouldn't be getting too much less than that. We should be looking at about that 70 million pound mark as well, from Chelsea's perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about everything. Man United fans, how you feel about Benjamin Sesko? Newcastle fans, how you feel about not getting Benjamin Sesko, most likely? And how you feel about Nicholas Jackson, Newcastle fans? Let me know your thoughts. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, take care. See ya.